Skinny Hardaway Southern T, back with another EP. Y'all do your boy favor, y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time, I greatly appreciate you sliding through. If it's your first time, do your boy solid. Don't make it your last time. Hit that subscription button. We talk these good boxing, sports, parlays, predictions every single day, not just today. Today, we're here with an NFL Monday night and NFL Thursday night football prediction. We're going to start with the Monday night game, seeing that it's going down tonight in the Monday night game. And in the Monday night game, we got the Detroit Lions versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Right. And in the second game, we got the Thursday night game. We got the Tennessee Titans versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And again, we're going to start with the Detroit Lions and the Las Vegas Raiders. We got the Detroit Lions 5-2, and the Las Vegas Raiders 3-4. The Detroit Lions pretty much picked up where they left off last year. The Detroit Lions wasn't a playoff team last year, but they did have a winning record. They're one of those teams that missed the playoffs by like a technicality, right? Type thing. They won. I think they won like 10 games, right? But it came down to like a tiebreaker, and they ended up missing the playoffs. So they pretty much kind of been on a redemption tour, right? Since that, they're facing off against the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders sit at 3-4. Disappointing season, right, for the Las Vegas Raiders so far. It's like Las Vegas Raiders, they do have talent. The defense is actually good, right? They have talent on offense, but it's like the same story every year with the Raiders. A lot of talent, but they can't quite seem to bring it all together. Right now, the Las Vegas Raiders are fighting a bit of an injury bug as well. There'll be no Jimmy Garoppolo, for today's game. That Las Vegas Raiders defense has been, the lone bright spot, right? The defense is actually pretty formidable. The run defense, the pass defense got banged up a little early. They're getting healthier. They also, hold their own on defense as well. The Raiders offense has been what's been extremely inconsistent this year, right? What's mostly let them down is their offense and how up and down it is. The defense gives up under 200 yards passing and rushing, right? Does their Vegas defense, and the offense, just barely eclipses 300 total yards, 231 passing yards, and only 68 rushing yards. Vegas has found it extremely difficult to get their ground game going up until this point. They found it extremely difficult to get their ground game going up until this point. Josh Jacobs only has found the end zone twice. He's gotten out to his slowest start since the start of his career. He's only accumulated somewhere around 350 yards total over 7 games. So that Raiders offense hasn't necessarily been meeting expectations, right? The defense has been over exceeding expectations, but that offense hasn't really been meeting expectations. They're facing off against the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are full strength. Again, they're 5-2. They're 5-2. They amassed 390 yards of total offense, 271 passing, and over 115 yards rushing. Their defense does allow, quite a bit, 335 yards. They allow 258 yards passing and only 76 yards rushing, right? So while the run defense is good, the pass defense is bad in Detroit. But what works in the Lions' favor, right? Jimmy Garoppolo is hurt, like I mentioned earlier. So Jimmy Garoppolo isn't going to be playing, right? So the starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Raiders, right? The quarterback more equipped to make them pay for having such a bad defense is not going to be playing. Brian Hoyer is actually going to be playing for the Raiders, and Brian Hoyer is not the strongest of passers himself, right? So I'm not too sure that this Las Vegas Raiders offense is going to be able to exploit the weakness of this Detroit Lions defense. You got the Lions at home as well with a better record, 5-2, right? Backup quarterback for the Raiders. The Lions are clicking right now. Montgomery, 6 touchdowns, 385 yards. Monroe St. Brown, 557 yards, 3 touchdowns as well. Jared Goff clicking right now, 174 completions on 256 attempts, almost 2,000 yards passing up until this point in the season. 11 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. The Detroit Lions are just clicking right now, and I favor the Detroit Lions in this game over the Las Vegas Raiders, especially when you add into the fact that the Detroit Lions are at home. So in the Monday night game, Detroit Lions versus the Las Vegas Raiders, I got the Detroit Lions over the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm gonna go money line. You can go money line. You can go halftime. Either of those work. The money line on this game right now is Detroit Lions minus 350. That's going to be the play. You know what I mean? This game, Detroit Lions minus 350. And I think that it's pretty solid, at home. I don't think the Vegas Raiders are going to be putting up much resistance. You know what I mean? The Detroit Lions teams look good. This Detroit Lions team looks good, and they're going to come in and they're going to make a statement on this injury-riddled Las Vegas team right now. The offense is down, Jimmy G. Detroit Lions on the road. It's going to be right. The Detroit Lions offense versus the Las Vegas Raiders defense, but I think eventually that Las Vegas Raiders defense is going to get tired of being on the field, and their Raiders defense banged up as well. You got Hobbs that's missing on the back end. You got another starting safety that's missing on the back end, right? So I just think it's advantage Detroit Lions, advantage Jimmy G in that offense. So the play in that is Detroit Lions money line at minus 350. They got Jared Goff for 262. Right now they do have Jimmy G as questionable, right? So Jimmy G could possibly play tonight, but even if Jimmy G does play, right, you either got Brian Hoyer or injured Jimmy Garoppolo. I still will favor the Detroit Lions, right? Because I see Jimmy G is questionable right now. So even if Jimmy G does play, he's coming back off of injury. He has 7 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, right? So he hasn't had the greatest of seasons himself. So even if he comes back, that does give them a better chance to beat the Detroit Lions. But I still think Detroit Lions are just a better team overall. So we got Detroit Lions money line, you know what I mean, in that game. We go keep it moving right along to the Thursday night football game. In the Thursday night football game, we got the Tennessee Titans versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I expect this game to be a little more competitive than that first game. I expect this game, Tennessee versus Pittsburgh, to be a little more competitive than the first game, Lions versus the Raiders, right? And I'm gonna tell you why. Because this game, you got two good coaches, a great coach maybe in Mike Tomlin, a young coach with Mike Vrabel, who I think is on his way to be a great coach, right? He has this Tennessee team playing inspired football, especially coming off the victory the way they did last week. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers also. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, who was if I'm not mistaken, the Pittsburgh Steelers are sporting a 4-2 record. They're sporting a 4-2 record right now. Depending on what they did last week, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's check it out. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 4-3, and the Titans are 3-4. The Titans are coming off a victory last week, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are coming off a loss last week. The Pittsburgh Steelers lost to Jacksonville 20-10, and the Tennessee Titans won against Atlanta 28-23. So in this game, we got the 3-4 Titans on the road coming into Pittsburgh at 4-3. Now, Pittsburgh on the road is a beast within itself, right? That's hard enough to deal with, right? Just having to go into Pittsburgh to play. That's a hard enough game in itself, right? On top of the fact that Tennessee is probably going to be down their starting quarterback, right? Which is Ryan Tannehill. But then you couple into the fact that Ryan Tannehill hasn't been playing great this year. Also on top of the fact that Will Levis got his first start last week, and Will Levis, he came out and he threw against 4 touchdowns. Now, I know what you might say was certainty. It was against the Falcons, and that is true. It was against the Falcons, but the Falcons' defense is in the top half of the league in passing defense right? So the Falcons defense, while it isn't a top defense, it isn't one of the worst defenses. It's pretty formidable. And their pass defense is actually, an above average defense. So for Will Levis to come out and do that against their Falcons secondary, that's nothing to, just snooze over, right? You got the Atlanta Falcons who are having quarterback problems, right? They end up benching Riddler, right? So who knows what's going on with that team? But that team is 500. That team was also 4-3 last week before they played Tennessee, just like Pittsburgh Steelers are this week. Pittsburgh Steelers were riding high coming off their win over the Rams, the win over the Baltimore Ravens, right? Going into the week with Jacksonville. A lot of people had, Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh. A lot of people had Pittsburgh, beating. Some people had Pittsburgh beating Jacksonville, right? I personally did have Pittsburgh beating Jacksonville. I thought their Pittsburgh defense, right, would be just a little too much for their Jacksonville offense. And actually, the defense did hold up. They held their Pittsburgh offense to 20 points. But what hurt Pittsburgh last week against Jacksonville was Pittsburgh's offense didn't come to play. Their offense let them down, only accumulating 10 points. Now, Pittsburgh is 4-2 when they win games. When they win games and their offense is rolling, they look good, right? Pickens is rolling. But when they can't get their ball moving and they can't get rolling, they look like, a team that doesn't belong. But when they can get the ball rolling, they can get the offense going, they look like a playoff team. With Pittsburgh, it's mostly going to be which team are you going to get? Are you going to get that 4-2 team, or are you going to get the team that showed up last week and, kind of laid the egg? They showed up last week and kind of laid the egg. In Tennessee Titans, you could say a lot of the same. Which team is going to show up? Is the team going to show up last week? Was that Will Levis game, just an anomaly? Will they be putting Ryan Tannehill back in the mix? I'm thinking after a game like that, Will Levis is probably going to get another crack at it, another shot at it. But that Tennessee offense looked like a completely different offense with Will Levis in the game. DeAndre Hopkins, while he's had a pretty good year so far, DeAndre Hopkins went out for 3 touchdowns. Receiver, you should use him. Will Levis knew that, right? And when Will Levis got in the game, he used D-Hop, and it worked out for him. The Titans offense put up 4 passing touchdowns all by Will Levis. The ground game, was moving. They were using the backs. They were using the backs in the passing game yesterday, right? That Tennessee defense is strong, has always been strong, especially with the run. But that yesterday, the pass defense played improved football, right? Tennessee lost Kevin Byard, right, in a trade to Philadelphia. And I'm not gonna lie, even I thought it would be all down here from there. But that defense, that secondary kind of gelled together. Right? And they played well, in that game last week against the Atlanta Falcons. If both teams showed up last week, if we get that Pittsburgh team that showed up last week and that Tennessee Titans team that showed up last week, I got the Tennessee Titans in this game. I think Pittsburgh, while they are a good team, right, I think they are heavily dependent on that run, right? And Tennessee is a good team against the run. Really with Tennessee, I feel like the problem with Tennessee is they're like a quarterback away. I think they got the running back group. I actually think they have an adequate wide receiver core now that they got DeAndre Hopkins, right? He covers a lot of holes in that wide receiving core. They still got Treylon Burks, right? Who's coming, who's been a little banged up, but they're working him along. They got Westbrook Akili, right? Who's coming into his own as an NFL player in the wide receiver. He had a big touchdown catch yesterday from Will Levis. So Tennessee right now, I think they're feeling good. They're inspired right now. You got the Steelers, who had a bit of a letdown last week. Now they're still Curtin at home is a beast within itself. The Steel Curtin at home is a task within itself. But I think with this Tennessee running game, and I think with the passing game, coming to life a little bit last week, maybe finding his legs with Tennessee's run defense being as good as it is, top 10 in the league, and with Pittsburgh depending so much on that run, right? I think Tennessee should be able to get this victory to go into Pittsburgh and control this game. And I think they're going to dominate the game up front as far as the offensive line and the defensive line. Pittsburgh defensive line is good as well, right? Tennessee likes to run the ball. Those edge rushers for Pittsburgh like to get on the edge. If you're running the ball right, it's hard for you to get out on the edge. I think Tennessee's defensive line is superior. Tennessee's offensive line and Pittsburgh defensive line could be what and what, but I think Tennessee, when clicking right, is just the overall complete team. I think Kenny Pickett is going to struggle a little bit against this Tennessee's defense, mainly the D-line group, right? I got Tennessee to beat Pittsburgh this Thursday on Thursday Night Football. Let's get into the betting lines for this game. Right now, Pittsburgh at home, right, is the favorite. Pittsburgh 4-3, Tennessee 3-4. Not surprised Pittsburgh is the favorite, right, especially being at home. I actually think them being the favorite, especially how both of them performed last week, has a lot to do with them being at home. But I don't think that the home crowd, while will play a factor, it's not going to play a big enough factor to get them over the hump versus this Tennessee team, who I feel like is rolling right now. The money line in this game is Pittsburgh minus 156. You got Tennessee at plus 132. The over and under in this game is 36.5. I think the under in this game is a good play. I don't think these teams, crack over that 36.5, right? So that's a good play, right? If you want to play it safe, I'm going Tennessee money line over the Pittsburgh Steelers in this. I think Tennessee do enough to get the win in Pittsburgh. Will Levis looked good in his last game. I think we get more of the same in this Thursday night game with Pittsburgh versus Tennessee Titans. And I got Tennessee Titans money line over Pittsburgh, right? So let's get into these parlays and predictions real quick. Let me set y'all straight. We're going to start with the Monday night game. We got the Lions over the Raiders. Lions and Raiders. Detroit Lions are minus 350 right now. Detroit Lions are minus 350 right now. Jimmy G is questionable. He hasn't been playing. He could be playing. So normally I probably will go, halftime, but, just to play it safe in case Jimmy G does play. I think over the course of the game, whether Jimmy G plays or not, the Detroit Lions should be able to get their win. So we're going to take the Detroit Lions money line straight up in that game. We're going to take the Detroit Lions money line straight up in that game. We're going to head down. We're going to head down to the props. We're going to head down to the props in this game, right? We're going to head down to the props in this game. We got the over and unders. I'm going to give y'all some over and unders real quick. Passing yards, Jared Goff, over 262. Jimmy Garoppolo, over 256. Jimmy Garoppolo what's good, Big Tex? Jimmy Garoppolo coming off injury. Jimmy Garoppolo coming off injury, throwing for 250. See, the Detroit Lions pass defense is bad. The strength of the Detroit Lions are their run defense, right? The Detroit Lions pass defense is bad. I could see this game getting bad, right? And the Raiders just having to throw. So them over and unders are kind of, iffy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Jimmy Garoppolo for 200 yards, and I'm going to take Jared Goff for 200 yards in the alternate, right? So we're going to go Lions to win. We're going to go Jimmy G to pass for 200. And we're going to go Jimmy Garoppolo to pass for 200. And we're going to go, Jimmy Garoppolo to pass for 200. So we got both quarterbacks throwing for 200 yards. And that's the out, right? And that's the alternate. Right, the over and under at 256. If I had to guess right, I'd probably say Jimmy Garoppolo under. I'd probably say Jimmy Garoppolo under 256. Jared Goff over 262. Right. Well, actually, I'd probably go both QBs under 262. That's a lot of yards, right? I'm thinking maybe both those quarterbacks go under the 256, under the 262. Jared Goff and Garoppolo. I'm going to take the alternate passing yards with both QBs, though, at 200, right? So we got Detroit Lions money line We got Jimmy Garoppolo for 200, and we got Jared Goff. Let's go Jared Goff, 225. Let's go Jared Goff, 225, and let's go Jimmy Garoppolo, 225. Let's go both QBs, 225. Right, let's go both QBs, 225. So we got Lions, Jimmy G for 225, Jared Goff for 225. We're going to go over and under for rushing yards. Josh Jacobs at 57, Jamar Gibbs at 71. I do think Jamar Gibbs is going to be used in this game a lot, right? I do think he's going to be used as a weapon. I don't think he's going to be used only as a ground running back, right? So I'm thinking Jamar Gibbs at that 71, maybe the under. He also splits carries, right? So I'm thinking Jamar Gibbs under that 71. Josh Jacobs at 57.5. The Detroit Lions run defense is actually pretty good. It's been tough for Josh Jacobs really to get going this year with the Raiders, O-line being, as up and down as it has. 57.5. Josh probably goes under too. So I got both QBs under and both running backs under right now. We're going to move it right along to the Tennessee Titans. Pittsburgh Steelers. I got Tennessee Titans money line. Tennessee is the underdog right now at plus 132. The Steelers are the favorite at home. So I think we go Tennessee Titans money line straight up, right? I like that in this play. We're going to go down to, the over and unders, how we do it, both quarterbacks, both running backs. I'm guessing Tennessee is playing Will Levis, right? So their stats might not even actually be up right now, and they're not because we got a lot of backup. So their prop stats not even up yet, right? But let me give y'all a rundown. Real quick in the two games. Make my predictions. I'm going to put the timestamps at the end. So at 23... at 22:30, we'll get to it, right? But these are my predictions in the Monday night game. In the Monday night game, I got the Lions money line over the Raiders, right? Lions money line over Raiders. In the second game, I got Titans money line over the Steelers, right? And that's the Monday and Thursday night game. Tennessee, you get underdog value in Tennessee. And I also think the under in the Tennessee versus Steelers game, right? So we go Lions money line over Raiders, Tennessee money line over Steelers, and also we got Titans and Steelers under 36.5. Got Titans and Steelers under 36.5. As well. Right, and we go take that. That's 10 wins you $50 on that. I'm gonna stay away from the under. The over and under in the first game. Devin, man, what's good? What's good? Shout out my guy K. Said 10 been holding out on Will Levis. Perfect timing, K. Shout out my guy K. Perfect timing. Shout out my guy K. He's at Tennessee been holding out on Will Levis. I think it's perfect timing, K, man. I think it's gonna be perfect time for Will. He looked great that last game. I ain't gonna lie. He impressed me. I was one of those people who was hard on Will Levis, but he impressed me, man. You know what I mean? He really did impress me. Now I'm gonna put the rundown back up there at 25. Let me put it in my notes. Right. I'm gonna go prediction rundown at 25 on the dot on the thing for timestamp purposes. Y'all know I'm gonna put the timestamps in for people who wanna. Some people don't want to watch the whole video, right? And if you don't want to watch it, I ain't gonna make you. So pick rundown at 25. Oh, and I'm gonna run this jump to 30 minutes now since you came in. Okay, I'm gonna let it go to the 30. I got one more video to do after this. We gonna talk about the boxing this weekend and what happened and whatnot. Appreciate you starting through. Pick rundown at 25. So let's get it. So boom. So we got Lions, money line over Raiders in the Monday night football game tonight. And we got Tennessee money line over Steelers in the Thursday night football game. Also, in the Titans versus Steelers game, we go take the under. We go take the under in it, right? We go take the under in that Titans versus Steelers. Under 36 in the half. Right? He's a damn sure did impressed with 4 TDs. Yeah, that man look good. Can't even hold you. That's why I actually feel we look like a better team with Will Levis under QB, and that's a little surprising. I'm taking us with confidence over Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh looked bad in their last game. I'm taking us with confidence this week over Pittsburgh, with a lot to do with how Will Levis looked with their offense. It's like he simplified the offense. He said, okay, when I do throw this motherfucker, I'm going to throw it to D-Hop. Right? It ain't hard. People make it harder than what it is. I'm going to throw it to D-Hop. It was that simple. And he threw that motherfucker to D-Hop. You know what I mean? That's giving us life, man. We was kind of dead in the water, right? But that Will Levis performance, I know if it rejuvenated the fans, I know for sure it rejuvenated that locker room. You know what I mean? So I think, they got a little more to play for. Right? And I think they'll put us right back in the mix, man. I think they'll put us right back in the mix there, man. You know what I mean? I think it put us right back in the mix. And I'm going to predict the rest of the Sunday night games as well. Not today, right? I'm going to predict them maybe like tomorrow, right? I'm going to do the rest of the NFL games. Y'all make sure y'all check out the predictions that I already dropped on the page. I did my college football predictions for the week. I did all the NBA games for the day. I did the baseball game for the day as well. Right? We gonna have us a boxing and MMA conversation, probably about an hour and a half, maybe an hour and a half, right? About what happened this Saturday with the Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury fight. Will start off as a joke. Actually, is sparking a conversation that I feel like need to be had. I seen a lot of people talk about it, but not a lot of people talk about it quite the way, that I want to get into it. But a lot of interesting things going on in the sports world today, man. I had Hopkins on my bench. He had 34.8. Yep, I got Hopkins on my team. I got Hopkins on my team. That man, that boy went in. I'm back on the winning track now. Damn it, man. I need some pieces, damn it, man. I'm trying to trade a superstar for about 3 solid bench pieces. About 2 or 3 solid bench pieces. I'm trying to trade a superstar for about 2 or 3 solid bench pieces on my fantasy D-ball. And what I'm finna do after I end this one, I'm gonna push that boxing conversation back. I'm gonna actually make my bets for the day. My personal bets for the day. I'm gonna open the waiver wire, the basketball waiver wire, the football waiver wire. I haven't made my best for the day though. I haven't. I had Hopkins on the squad though, and that Titans Steelers rundown. That shout out to D. had Hopkins and here on my bench. Damn, you bullshit, K. That's terrible, K. And I played both of them. I got Hopkins and Henry too. I got Hopkins and Henry too. I played both of them. I spelled Raiders wrong, but y'all know what I meant. Lions money line over the Raiders. Titans money line over Steelers. Titans Steelers under 36 in the hurl. Yeah, Titans under. But I'm gonna get it with y'all, man. Appreciate y'all folks sliding through. Y'all catch me on the other side, Skin Holloway 7T. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but just the present. That's how we rocking. And I'm out. Love. Right, you gotta stick with him, K. You gotta stick with him.